In June 2019, I was in Ghana, West Africa for the 7th time in my life. I was there with a group of people and we were talking with our mission partner and they were showing us all the things that God had been doing in Ghana, in northern Ghana, as well as their neighboring country, Burkina Faso. And we were leaving a village and we were getting into our bus that traveled us around from village to village. And it was an old kind of bus. I mean, it was kind of, well, whatever you possibly imagine of an old bus, it probably looked just like that. And we were driving down this remote dirt highway in the middle of northern Ghana, and the cities were sparse, and it was really, really hot out. It was like 106 degrees. And it's kind of this dry heat because the wind comes off of the Saharan desert down into Ghana. And so everything's kind of dusty and dry and hot. And the wind itself coming off of the Sahara, it was hot too. So it was a really hot day. And then all of a sudden we're on this bus and we hear this noise. You can imagine. And we know what is happening. We know that our bus is totally breaking down on this remote highway in northern Ghana. And so the bus, it pulls over onto the side of the road. And I know that there is not a city for miles. There's also not even a shade tree for miles. It is just hot outside. So inside the bus, it was just completely unbearable. So we went outside to sort of look for some shade in our broken down bus. We actually opened up the bottom place where you put the storage compartments so that could create some shade, and we kind of huddled underneath the bus while it was broken there on the side of the road. And as I looked one way down the highway, I thought, oh my gosh, it's 20 miles that way at least to another city. And I looked the other way down the highway and there was, I couldn't see another city at all. There was no one driving past us and there's no self-service. And it was really, really sparse and I wasn't sure what we were gonna do. And the driver of the bus, he got out and he opened up the engine and you could just see the heat pouring off of that and the way that the heat does. And he started pouring some water on the engine. And my friend Abigail, she is Ghanaian and she was on this trip with us. She was serving these same villages with us. And she looked at me and I had kind of this panicked look on my face like, oh my gosh, I have all these people out here in the 106-degree heat and there's no end in sight. I don't know what we're going to do about it. And then she looked at me with her beautiful bright eyes and her big smile and she said to me, he will do it. And I said, excuse me, what? She goes, he will do it. And it took me by complete surprise. You see, I think that we often talk about how God is everywhere, yet somehow we still sort of wonder where God is in our lives, kind of at the same time. We wonder, where is God in my loneliness or my struggles? Or where is God in these difficult things that happen to us? What does God even see in me? And this week on the Daily Dose, we are exploring what God sees when God sees us. So here, he will do it. What Abigail was telling me here on the side of the road in Ghana is this common saying in this country. And I thought really for me, it was so radical and so countercultural that it just totally, completely took me by surprise. I think we live in an I will do it society, a society where we put our hopes in ourselves. I'll give you an example. Like if I need medicine, then I call the doctor and I make an appointment and I go on my e-visit or whatever that is. And then I fill my prescription and then I will pay for it. Therefore, I have fixed my own health problem. Or if my car was to have trouble, I would take my car in or I would call my mechanic. I would pay for it or I would wait until my car is fixed. You think we do this all the time. If we need food, I will go get food. I will go to the store and pick some up. I'm wondering if God sees our needs, that it's hard for us in this I will do it society, because we just imagine taking care of our needs on our own. Almost never, unless I'm in just complete and utter dire straits, do I even think long enough to hope that he will do it. I mean, I have to be in a real desperate situation to sit there and say, oh, he will do it, hoping that God is going to provide for my needs rather than me providing for my own needs on myself. And I also think there is somehow this message that whenever we are empty, when our reserves are completely run dry, we just need to take time to find our own level of self-care, right? Like we need to fix that problem too when we are empty. A little face mask or a walk or some TV time, and then we'll be replenished. And that's really good. And I do think that those things do help. But I think that is still leaning into an idea that we are responsible for taking care of our needs. But what do we do when we are just completely broken down, like that bus on the side of the road? What do we do when those things happen? I want to wonder then if that is actually where hope comes from, when it comes from outside of us into ourselves. And as I sat there under the little roof of the bus, kind of at that point in the 106-degree heat in this foreign country, watching the engine steam, I just kept reflecting on what my friend said. He will do it. Yeah, what does that mean for me in my everyday life and not on the side of the road in a foreign country? In the Bible, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, it says this: "May God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit body be kept without blame at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Because God who calls you is faithful, and he will do it." So we were sitting out there for about 10 minutes when a motorcycle finally came down the road towards us and stopped at where we were, and just randomly stopped as they saw people sitting in the shade of a bus. And it made me wonder how they even knew that we were there. But then the driver, he jumped on the back of this motorcycle and they sped off into the distance. And even about 10 minutes after that, the driver came back with this motorcycler, the first person that had ever passed us on that road, and he had a new belt for the engine. And it took just a little bit more time to put this new belt on the engine before they were able to get the bus started back up again. It had only really been about 30 minutes total on the side of the road. And our group just sat there in kind of shock and awe how quickly this all sort of worked itself out when it seemed like it was just so sparse. And Abigail, she looked at me again with her wide smile and she said, "See, he will do it." My friends, God sees your needs. I wonder if maybe today you'll be bold enough just to ask him to do it. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Daily Dose. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, I want to invite you to share and subscribe. And if you're joining us on cable access, join us this whole week as we're talking about what God sees.